I think that some of you all probably looked at the title and immediately you were turned off yourself.
All right, guys, what's going on? I'm Paul.
I'm Morgan.
I'm Michael.
And this is the Paul and Morgan, the Paul and Morgan Show. So we felt compelled to make this video. It's going to be us responding to the criticisms of our turnoffs video. For those of you who may not be aware, just tuning in, Michael and I made a video last week and we called it What Christian Guys Wish Girls Knew, Our Biggest Turnoffs. After posting that video, it started getting a lot of heat. Yeah. So Michael and I talked about it. We looked at the comments. We discussed it with Morgan. We got a few other people that we really respect and talked to them about it. And so we just wanted to share with you guys kind of where we're at with it.
Can I say something real quick? So I actually had a conversation tonight with someone who I hold in high esteem, my older brother, and I actually shared with him the video and shared with him some of the comments. And one of the first things I want to say is, and Paul and Morgan and I actually talked about this, I think we all agree that first and foremost, I think the title could have been a little bit different. I think that some of you all probably looked at the title and immediately you were turned off yourself. That wasn't our intention. I can own up. I think we probably could have talked about the title and worded it differently.
There are some things that, looking at it now, we could have done differently.
I will say to everyone that's watching this video and has seen the video before this, first of all, we have made very controversial videos in the past and not felt for a second like we needed to make a second response video backing up what we said in the first video. I think the main reason that we're coming and making this video and these guys have things to say is because their hearts were in the right place. I think that a few of the things that they said, people heard it and immediately their ears closed to the rest of what they had to say. Their ears closed to the meat of what they were trying, the point of what they were trying to get across. I would like you all to maybe just very clearly explain the point of what you all were saying in that first video.
Well, I think that's good, Morgan, because one, I think that the way that Michael and I chose to title the video, people read the title and immediately got somewhat offended. I mean, we used the word turnoffs in the title. You're starting the video already feeling a little bit on edge. The other thing is Michael and I, we like to have a lot of fun in our videos. So really, no matter what the topic is, we're probably going to be laughing. And I think some of you watched it and were like, they're approaching this in such a fun, almost goofy way, and in that sense it was hard to receive. Like Morgan said, the meat and the real stuff that we had to share.
I think one of the things that was easily assumed was that all Christian guys, or the majority of Christian guys, think the way we think. Look, you all, this was clearly just something that Paul and I preference that we have, and I'm not going to sit here and say that my preference has changed. What I want to let you all know is that, look, you're not any less valuable if you grew up doing this with your family, if you still do this with your family, or with even a significant other.
But again, we all have preferences,
yeah,
and that's okay.
Yeah, and one of the things growing up, I never heard my mom pass gas. I mean, she was so careful and just never doing that. However, I also know that some of my friends, their parents did that, their mothers did that. And so the last video, we talked about how my preference, is to not pursue someone who does that a lot, and it's basically a part of their lives.
And talking about it.
Right. And other bodily functions like belching, we talked about that as well. Look, clearly there are people who feel very differently than me. In no way am I saying you better not do that, and if you do, no guy will ever want to pursue you. And by the way, let me just go ahead and tell you, there are greater disqualifiers than someone just passing gas. Much more important things spiritually speaking. This was meant to be conveyed in a fun, humorous way. At the same time, also in a way that, look, we also don't want to try to water things down and say that other people don't feel this way, because I would be lying and being disingenuous to you if I said my preference still wasn't the same. And I'd also be lying to you and saying that other people that I've spoken to don't feel the same way. So in no way do I look down upon you at all if you feel differently and behave differently. Got love for you. Seriously, I really do have love for you. Promise you that.
I personally know, for me in the past, like if Paul were to come to me and say, Morgan, I really wish that you could work on this, whatever it might be, because it is just something that just turns me off, or I don't find that attractive, I immediately hear that and I feel like, wait, what? You can't just love me anyways? You can't just get over it? I'm feeling a little bit rejected because I just want you to just accept me for exactly the way I am. But one of the points that they talked about in the other video was that a really good thing for a relationship is when your partner comes to you and brings something that bothers them or turns them off or whatever, is to not immediately turn off your ears and want to run away. It's to sit down, to open your heart, and to humbly just listen and take in what they're saying. You might not change. You might not be able to do what they're asking, but the Lord says, be quick to listen and slow to speak. And I feel like that's such an important thing for all of us to remember. Whether you're watching a YouTube video that seems really goofy or immature, whatever, or your partner comes to you, your spouse comes to you and brings something to you that, you might not necessarily agree on, we've got to remember that the Lord says, calm down, humble yourself, and just listen. One of our very awesome subscribers commented and said, I feel like we live in a world where people don't listen, they're just waiting for their turn to speak. I believe that that is so true, and I know from my past that sometimes I'll hear Paul just talking, and in my head, I'm not really listening to him. I'm already coming up with a response, a sassy response of, okay, how can I defend myself? I'm getting very offended by him. How am I going to fight back? I just encourage you all to maybe even go back and re-watch the first video and just come at it with a very humble, no pride, heart filled with just love and, okay, I'm gonna give this a chance and just listen to what they have to say, because these two guys are coming, whatever video they make, they're coming with a heart that is for the Lord. And yeah, it might be a silly video, but these two guys are filled with the Spirit, and so you can learn from them in a goofy video or a very serious video. We get that some of you guys are not going to agree, you're not even going to like what they say, and that's totally fine. We look forward to those types of comments where you're commenting and saying, hey, I just don't agree with this, but appreciate you putting out your content. Or just, I don't agree with this. Like, we get that and we appreciate that. But for the people who are responding out of, hurt, and so they're writing a hateful comment, I just really encourage you to watch the video a few times, or don't watch it ever again, but go to the Lord and be like, why am I hurt by this? Why is this upsetting me so much? Just seek the Lord and He will reveal things to you that maybe you haven't been aware of, that could maybe help you in your walk with God, getting closer to Him.
Morgan, I love that. One thing that you said reminded me an aspect of the video that I feel like unfortunately got overshadowed by us talking about farting and that kind of triggering so many people and stuff. There are going to be issues that arise if it's something like being grossed out by bodily functions, or it could be, we were just being real with the personal preference that we had. Michael and I were trying to get across that there's a way to respond in love rather than to respond in hurt and anger and offense.
And let's be clear, they could make another video or go live at some point and talk about the heavier things that would turn them off to a person.
And we've talked about some of that stuff too. We've had videos. I have videos on my channel. We've done videos on your channel about certain things we wish women knew. And we're very substantive. And again, this was more fun. And I don't want to somehow falsely apologize for a preference, because I'm not going to falsely apologize. But I will say I am regretful that I could have articulated it in a way that was more beneficial and I think more conscientious to how some of you all could have received it.
Have our preferences changed? No. Could we have approached this and delivered it in a way that was a little easier to receive? Yeah, and we're learning, and we're going to get better at that.
Yeah, amen.
And one last thing I want to say Paul comes to me and he says, Morgan, I really don't like it when you call me fart head. And I say, okay, well, I don't like it when you fart. Sorry, Michael.
It's okay.
And he goes, oh, well, you just have to get over that. That would not be okay. But Paul's not going to come to me and ask me to stop calling him farthead if he's not willing to stop farting around me. And so
I think that's fair.
Yes.
I really do.
And I hope that you could see that in Michael and I's video, that we did say this goes both ways, guys.
Yeah. Yes.
Michael and I are in front of you all sharing our stuff, but it could just as easily be reversed and have two girls here sharing their stuff. So
Look, and I can just say right now, like, I'm not married, but if I was, I know for a fact certain things that I do would probably really annoy the person I'm married to. Like, for example...
You're pretty much the perfect man, Michael.
No, I'm
I don't know.
far from... look, she's shaking her head. What the heck? Man.
Okay, I'm just
Little
kidding.
sis.
Michael's an awesome man, but he's not perfect. Okay.
Not perfect.
Gotta
not
bring him
perfect.
back down.
Yeah, that's true. Gravity's bringing... What I was saying is, for example, I take my toothpaste, and you know how some people are really meticulous with their toothpaste? How they fold it over?
I figured you would be one of
I'm
those.
not. I just go all over the place. I squeeze it. If someone were to come to me, I'd be like, what's the big deal? It's toothpaste. But you know what? I'm still learning. And I'm telling you all, it is a process. And we're all learning to be humble. And just to, as Morgan said earlier, she said it so perfectly, is to humble yourself and to at least just consider. And you may consider it and even go before the Lord. And you may realize, you know what? I don't think this is a reasonable request. But I think if anything, if you love the person and you're spending time with them a lot, I think you owe them at least to consider the request.
Guys, we love you all. Thank you for your grace on us as we're learning. We'll be gracious with you all for those of you who wrote especially mean comments.
And you know what? After your comments, it reminded me of a Disney character. Riff raff, street rat. I don't buy that. If only they'd look closer,
They would see
there's so
Pity
much
party,
more
pity party.
to me.
Oh, that was terrible. We love you guys so much. Hope you have a great rest of your day. Make sure you subscribe to this channel. We
subscribe,
make
thumbs
Christian
up.
advice videos on life, love, and dating. Comment below and let us know what you thought of our response video. We love you guys. Have hope.
And be
Freedom! Give this video a thumbs up!
Tonight I bring you an interview with two people who claim they're men, but really what they are, and I speak for all the women on this earth, are disgusting, slimy, scummy, stinky, dirty, filthy, gross, ew, yuck, nasty, what, smelly, ew, things. What do you have to say for yourselves?
Disgusting excuse for human beings.